NATO's top commander in Kosovo says the military alliance is considering a cutback in the number of peacekeepers within a year. Lieutenant General Giuseppe Emilio Gay says there is no longer a need to maintain NATO's current force of 15,000 troops.
Military speaking, we don't need to maintain here 15,000 people, as you said. We are planning to reduce our strength here.
General Gay said he expects the drawdown to happen by the end of 2009 or early in 2010. NATO deployed 50,000 troops when it took control of Kosovo from Serbia in 1999. The NATO force in Kosovo is the third largest for the alliance, trailing only Iraq and Afghanistan. Kosovo celebrated the first anniversary of its independence from Serbia last month. President Obama says the U.S. needs to reset its relationship with Russia and move forward on areas of common concern. One of those concerns, a nuclear Iran. Tuesday at the Pentagon, Defense Secretary Robert Gates said if Iran can't be persuaded to halt its program, making Russia a full partner in missile defense is an alternative. Air Force Master Sergeant George Maurer has more.
Secretary Gates called European missile defense an opportunity to reopen dialogue with Russia. He said he's open to discussing the way forward to curtailing the Iranian missile program.
The reality is that the missiles that the Iranians are testing can reach a good part of Russia, as well as Eastern Europe and part of Western Europe.
Secretary Gates also said if he has one message for the Russians right now, it's give the United States a little time.
The administration has not had an opportunity to look comprehensively yet at our relationship with Russia and arms control and all the different aspects of the relationship, which includes the potential for a partnership in missile defense.
Secretary Gates also said he told Russia over a year ago that if Iran didn't have a missile program, there would be no need for another defensive missile site in Poland. Reporting from the Pentagon, I'm Air Force Master Sergeant George Maurer.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs is in the Amazon rainforest in South America. Admiral Michael Mullen met with top leaders and emphasized the importance of military-to-military cooperation as part of the overall U.S.-Brazilian relationship. Brazilian leaders said being in the field and having the meetings in the jungle would give them a good idea of the country's military capabilities. Brazil is the fifth largest nation in the world by population. Last month, President Barack Obama visited Canada and talked about the importance of Canadian troops in Afghanistan. Canada's Prime Minister has set a deadline of 2011 to withdraw. Meantime, work continues in the combat medical field between Canadian and American health professionals. Medics from both countries recently gathered at the Canadian Embassy and exchanged experiences from the field. Both Canadians and Americans agreed on the importance of educating all troops in basic emergency care.
Because we also teach combat first aid courses to all the guys that go over. Enabled him to save his own life. If he didn't apply his own tourniquets, he would have been done, because I couldn't get to him.
If anything happened to me, those guys had to be the ones treating me. So you have to basically give them as much knowledge as you possibly can, so you're not doing too bad off.
All the medics agreed, too, that treating severely wounded soldiers with whom they've served side by side is the most draining part of the job. The U.S. Coast Guard was joined by Air Force Reserve rescue crews in its search for 3 men still missing whose boat capsized Saturday night in the Gulf of Mexico. Coast Guard officials say they have narrowed their search after finding a 4th man clinging to the hull of the 21-foot fishing boat on Monday about 35 miles off the Florida coast. Coast Guard rescuers pulled former University of Florida player Nick Schuyler from the overturned boat and flew him to Tampa General Hospital. Coast Guard officials say now that they've located the boat, there is more hope of finding the 3 other men. First Lady Michelle Obama says the nation must do all that it can to support military families. She spoke Tuesday at the Women in Military Service for America Memorial Center at Arlington National Cemetery. She talked about the military families she's met over the past couple of years.
They are mothers and fathers who have lost their beloved children to war. They are husbands and wives keeping the family on track while their wives and husbands are deployed on duty.
Tuesday's event marked the start of Women's History Month. Coming up next, airmen put on a show for kids in LA, but this act is on stage, not in the sky. But first, troops tell all about their time in combat, how their stories are helping other service members brace for battle.